Welcome back to the Quiet on Set podcast. I'm Ewan Graff, and as always, I'm joined by Lachlan Teely. Today,
Hello.
we are reviewing Wednesday, the surprising hit show over on Netflix. So, Lachlan, I know you are familiar with the Wednesday family. Can you tell us, like, how long have you been affiliated with Wednesday Adams?
Pretty early on, I was very familiar with the 90s Adam Family movie and sequel
Mm-hmm.
Adam Family Values movies that came out. They were just, they hit a little bit different. I always found the family
Mm-hmm.
quite interesting, quite fun, quite weird. From a young age, I was really attracted to this gothic style of
Yeah.
like movies and TV shows. So I really love like a lot of old Tim Burton stuff. Like I have a lot of good memories of Edward Scissorhands and The Nightmare Before Christmas, and
Mm-hmm.
same with the Addams Family. I guess I was just a goth kid when I was younger. Is the easiest way to explain it.
I can picture it with the really dark hair, and then you also got like 15 different piercings all over
Yep,
your face.
yep,
That was
that's me.
that was the Lachlan we knew before the podcast. But no, that's mainly why we're talking about this, because you have been in anticipation for this series for quite some time, and we got some screeners. I went up watching it, and then it became the smash hit after it
Crazy.
did like really well on TikTok with two things, mainly with like a read thing where you put your hand behind your head and then you simulate it's actually the hand that's like moving over your head and moving like something like that. I explaining a TikTok trend by a 20-something-year-old is great. And there's also the other thing with like the dance. But funnily enough, I think the way TikTok works is like it takes a song, then it speeds it up in some form of remix, and then people think like that song is part of it, which is neither the original song by like Lady Gaga, Bloody Mary, nor is it the song that they actually play during that scene as well. So it's kind of funny to like then picture a lot of people watching it, because like initially I feel like, okay, it's a TikTok trend, there's a dance, and no one actually watches the show. But turns out a fuck ton of people actually watched the show, and it
Like
did
a literal
like
fuck ton.
a literal fuck ton. You know, what would you describe as a literal fuck ton? How many million people would be a fuck ton of people?
At least everybody who watched Stranger Things plus more.
Yeah, I mean, in the 1 week that Stranger Things 4 season 4 released, there were 335 million hours watched of that show within the span of 1 week. For Wednesday Adams, there was about 11. There was about 7 million more. It roughly is like 341 to 42 million hours watched in that same time period. So interesting to see something go so bonkers, when it comes to the
Yeah.
numbers here, which brings us to our general thoughts. Maybe I was thinking, well, we shouldn't do a spoiler review because a bunch of people might come in and just want to kind of get a general feeling of, is Wednesday Adams worth seeing after seeing a bunch of TikTok trends? And I gotta say, well, they've probably already all watched it, or at least just rewatched the dance scene at the end 100 times. I don't know how they get so high numbers, but what did you make of the series as a whole?
So I have written my condensed thoughts that is going to become my Letterbox review if they ever get TVs on Letterboxd. Because how am I supposed to track all those hours of TVs that I watch? But anyway,
Yeah.
look, Wednesday, the show, not Wednesday the character. Wednesday the show, is an excellent 8 episode story of young Wednesday Adams, forced by her parents to attend the Nevermore Academy, a boarding school for outcasts, and where her parents first met. Wednesday, well, coming from a creative mind. Again, Wednesday the show. It's really confusing when you have the name of the show and the character the same thing. Wednesday the show, while
Yeah.
coming from the creative mind of Tim Burton. And by the way, these are my general thoughts. Coming from the creative mind of Tim Burton, never really appears as a Burtonized story, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
There's really no Tim Burton esque style in this show
Yeah.
for me. And maybe it's because he was holding himself back on this project and was only in it for the namesake Tim Burton, but that's a lie because he directed 4 of the episodes himself. But
Yeah.
I never feel like Wednesday, the show, really reaches its creepy gothic style peak that it possibly could be at. Which is
Right.
unfortunate because I find that the Addams Family stuff about this show isn't really in there. It doesn't have that weirdness. It's just that Wednesday herself is that weird character. Now, maybe it's because then it's not taking place at the home, it's taking place at Nevermore Academy, but even still,
Yeah.
Wednesday did some crazy stuff, but I still feel like that first piranha prank that she does in the pool is more terrifying in episode 1. But
Yeah.
that's the only issue I had overall. The plot itself, while I don't think it's like quote unquote bad, I just think it's a little too Riverdale for my liking.
Yeah.
I really
Exactly.
wish the plot was a bit cleaner and just something a bit less like whodunit kind of mystery style. Just Wednesday trying to get out of the school, breaking out of it would have been a cooler story than this murder mystery that they try to throw into it. Because at the end of the day, it's the weirdness of the Addams Family that you go in for. It's the weird sexual romantic relationship that the parents have, and how dumb and idiotic the brother is, and how cruel
Yeah.
Wednesday is, and you've got that element there, but I feel like the Adam family, the actual family itself, isn't the best it's been. I feel like the casting
Yeah.
seems on point where they visually look like what they're
Mhm.
meant to, but I just don't think that they had that Adam's family value in the, if it makes any sense. I didn't have the fullness of what Adam's family has been in the past, but
Yeah.
other than that, the twists themselves are fun. I did enjoy some of the twists, and Jenna Ortega is literally the standout performance of any Netflix show, I think, this year. She did a incredible job as Wednesday Addams. I will say it's probably my favorite rendition. I as much as Christina Ricci, I think her name is, from the
Yeah.
original, was very good. It's the whole family in that, but this is just focused on Wednesday, so she gets to perform quite a lot. The humor was great. I'll probably be in for a season 2.
It definitely will get a season 2 after those numbers for sure. I feel like I agree with you that we get like nuances of Wednesday's weirdness through the dialogue mainly, but we don't really see her act on it apart from that like scene that did you describe terrifying with the piranhas. And then I was like, well, this is just a character who talks a lot. And then it's more like a coming of age thing where she's actually less of what she's more vulnerable. And it becomes that story of like someone who is a bad friend, who's a bad person to other people, trying to learn to be like a less of a bad friend. And it feels like, well, do we need that for that character, or can she just remain an asshole who's like antagonizing everyone? And having the murder mystery at the center, as well as the Riverdale aspects of romanticizing like every relationship she's in, or like even side characters that have like that aspect to it. It's like it's undercutting what you could do with a character that's so bleak. But Tim Burton, I think, in the first 4 episodes, I feel like is better than like I felt like a really steep decline in episode 5, and then it kind of just was meandering around to the conclusion of the murder mystery thing. But I feel like those first 4 episodes work a bit better, where he's still directing. You can see it's slightly like, I don't know. There was just something about it where I noticed. Oh, I checked after the fact, like when it, because I didn't stay for the credits. I didn't even see that he only did the first 4. It was like, oh, what happened after episode 4? And I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
I think that overall the story, as I said, is very Riverdale with this murder mystery at the center. I feel like a better story for this would have just been, Wednesday, because obviously the thing about Addams Family is that love in their family is torture. Like that's how they show love. And Morticia and Gomez Addams, like they send her to Nevermore because it's torture. Like it's not a great academy. There's a lot of bad stuff that happens, and there's a good joke in there where she's like, it's the parent week, and they come here, and she's like, I've been tried to be murdered. There's a monster. There's this, and that. It's all these bad things, and they're like, oh, Nevermore. true to my heart, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
very close to what the Addams Family is. So I feel like a better story would have been Wednesday trying to escape Nevermore Academy, and each episode could have just been this plot that Wednesday had, and then it's foiled by the next great performance of this series, and that's Gwendolyn Christie. That would have been a great thing, where she's kind of like the villain in a way, where there could have been this interesting plot where she hates Wednesday because it's her childhood enemy's daughter, because she loved Gomez and Gomez fell for Morticia, and not Principal Weems instead. But anyway, I feel like that would have been a better plot point than this stupid freaking murder mystery. But
It's a weird creature.
You got this monster that pops up, and if you didn't have the monster that pops up, you don't have Uncle Fester showing up, who's a monster hunter apparently and just knows everything about monsters, and Fred Armisen does an excellent job. So like I did enjoy like a good number of the performances, but Jenna Ortega and Gwendolyn Christie like carry this entire series on their backs. And it's been a year for Jenna Ortega. Like for 2022 is her year. Scream, X, now this. Everyone's saying it, but like she's got a pretty good career ahead of her. She's gonna be starring in the next Tarantino movie.
Oh no, save her feet, please. She was also in a couple more films. I think she was also in The Fallout. I'm really looking forward to Scream 2. That is not even too far out. Where I guess she also gets to play a really fun character. That's like knowing the tribes. I guess that's in the Scream universe. You do get to do that, but like a fun twist of how the opening the opening kill is kind of like spun around, and here there's not enough that makes this different from any other young adult type of show, where it really just tries to fit the narrative of Wednesday and like mold it into that. And I don't know if like another murderer undercuts Wednesday. With the murder mystery, it's almost like she's a redeeming character, because she's like her interests into why she's I guess like uncovering this mystery become too much entangled with the affiliations she has with other characters, other than like her interest in the grotesque like murder and stuff like that. It should be more that, because that's her character. It feels like she's a bit like whitewashed in a sense, and I don't know, cleaned up to not be as gritty and dark. But I guess that's what you got to do to make it more appealing. But I felt like even the dance at the end, that's now so iconic and all over the internet, like her having fun, I feel like that was also fun to see on screen. It kind of worked, although it's like such a I don't know, a converging point for the rest of the show. It's so different, where she gets to do that and just express herself, and it's really I guess iconic the way that she does it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the thoughts we got on Wednesday. Lachlan, would you recommend the show for people generally, or just for the people who like the Addams Family?
Go watch Wednesday. It's a good little bit of fun. It's 8 episodes. You could probably binge it all in one day. There's some really good moments in it that you'll enjoy, and some fun comedy in it. So the comedy does land most of the time.
We haven't talked about the hand yet. I think the hand works great. I think the hand is pretty much the thing that I enjoy most about it. When it gets killed, it's like, almost killed. It's brutal stuff.
Thing is a fun character. Is an interesting. I wish we had more of Lurch. Lurch is also quite a funny character in that world. No, Thing is, I guess, a very fun side character. And probably the best part about Thing is the fact that if you need something done, you just give it a Thing, and Thing can get it done. So if they need to get to a certain plot point, if Wednesday needs to get to a certain location that has to break in, just let Thing do it and it'll happen. So it's basically the Deus Ex Machina of the Wednesday cinematic universe, is that
get the ring to Mordo, let Thing do it. He can literally carry it on his finger.
Literally like attacked a siren underwater by swimming and punching it in the face. Like, it's so overpowered, But
Yeah.
anyway, that's the thing.
And the
concept.
behind the scenes are also funny because it's just like a man in a green suit and his hand is out.
Yeah, running around. Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
funny when you see it before. It's like it's that simple of an effect, you know. So like I think for me, if I had to give it a rating, because we can't do it on Letterboxd, we gotta stick with the IMDb out of 10 rating, and I'd probably give the show like a pretty solid 6 out of 10. Worth if you're interested in the show, but not really one that I would say go out and seek it. But yeah, for the young adults, maybe not completely my demographic that it's aiming for.
So thanks to Tim Burton's kind of tunneled, non-creative vision, just a standard kind of Netflix world. Like you can kind of think of this as like any Netflix fantasy world. They all kind of just merge into one. There's not really anything that stands out about it. But anyway, this kind of Netflixy looking TV show with a stupidly CGI monster. But overall, the charisma from a character played by a very good actress, but the charisma from a character that doesn't have any charisma is an interesting sentence to say at least. So Jenna Ortega definitely carries this really fun, exciting, just TV show. It's just a easy watch. So my score is going to be 6.5 out of 10.
Slightly higher than me.
Just to go a little bit above you and just to piss him off.
Yes, because he did like it a tad bit more than I did. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for our thoughts on Wednesday. Let us know what you thought of the series. If you watched it, are you going to watch it? Did you not watch it? Why did you not watch it? Whole bunch of questions that can be answered in the comments down below. Also down there, you can subscribe to the channel. We do a whole bunch of these reviews, and we got a podcast releasing every Tuesday. So go check that out if you want to find all of our socials for Quiet on Set podcast or Lachlan and myself. All of those are linked below. And yeah, I hope to see you back next week on the main show. So until then, see you soon.